Good morning, you listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning my guest is Pat Molyneaux, the co-owner of Molyneaux Tile, Carpet, and Wood. Pat, how you doing?
Doing great today. How about you, Kevin?
I'm good. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me. A little background, you've got 8 locations in the Pittsburgh area. You were, I think, the last guy to join the NFA, so the 43rd member of the NFA. I talked to you right as the COVID virus was impacting. You were one of those very responsible and dutiful business owners in the Pennsylvania area, and when the government said shut down, you shut down, but you've opened back up. Tell us how business is.
Yeah, Kemp. So Pennsylvania is one of probably 3 or 4 states, Michigan, New York, where they didn't even allow installation. So we had all these unsold jobs from January, February, couldn't even get them installed. They just shut down all installations, construction, etc. So we were down, our business was probably down 75% year over year, 80% those 2 months. We did have decent business the first 2 weeks of March. And then come May, it actually really did pick up. We definitely saw a lot of pent-up demand, and, the year-over-year business has been strong, but still trying to catch up to last year. We'll see how that goes. That's a goal, but we're trying.
Okay. You think there's a chance that even though you lost 6 weeks, that you could maybe match 19 numbers, or what do you think?
Well, the whole COVID thing just really gave us kind of the nudge to make a lot of changes in terms of how we go to market.
Yeah.
We just made so many changes, and honestly, with those changes, I think we're going to be able to do it. I mean, I'm optimistic, and our team is working harder than ever right now.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, because remember that McDonald's guy, Ray Kroc, said you can work in your business, you can work on your business. You've always got at least 20% of your time, I think, dedicated to doing something different. You continue to change your recipe for success. We were talking just prior to this interview, with 8 locations, you were talking about you've got a heightened enthusiasm around the purpose of brick and mortar. Tell us what you're talking there.
Yeah, I think what we're learning through all of this COVID is just how powerful Google and Facebook are, politically and economically.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to continue to see massive inflation on lead acquisition costs, through digital. There's only so much digital real estate you can buy, and the prices per click or per eyeball or per thousand, whatever your metric is, they're going up every year. So I think smart bricks and mortar still has a place, and that's a pivot for me. I didn't think that pre-COVID, but we've made some changes in our model where we think we're way better at bricks and mortar than we were even before COVID, with some changes we made around our showrooms.
You were telling me, we all know that servers, the restaurant employees, bartenders, they've been impacted the most off of this, and you've been reaching out, using Indeed, finding some of these people that are out of work and giving them a new lease on life, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, actually, we started doing that probably 2 or 3 years ago. I started advertising for servers, bartenders, retail workers. Typically, somebody in that industry might make $40,000 a year, $35,000 a year, but there's some incredible people.
Yeah.
So that's really what we've targeted, and we've really developed a model where we bring them in and we work with them, we train them, and we give them a chance to start out in the store as what we call a lead generator, where they just book appointments in the stores.
Yeah.
And then we train them to become what we call design consultants. So they might start out in the low 40s. We'll pay them an hourly rate plus a spiff for appointments they book. They have a chance to make $100,000 or better, which is what our good design consultants make.
Yeah.
$100,000 a year or better.
All right. So you kind of blend. I know you've used call centers in the past, and you kind of blend what they do, which is almost brainless lead generation, and then you get them involved.
This is one of the changes we made with COVID. We basically stopped all the phone calls going into the stores and sent them to a call center that we had used on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
And the customer calls in, and the call center just tries to book the appointment. We free shop-at-home estimate. That's our model. So right now, there's no calls that go into the showroom. They go into the call center. The call center tries to book the appointment. If the customer has other issues or other concerns, that call center will then forward that call or do a warm call transfer to the team leader or to somebody in that store. But we're really so much more intentional about converting inbound inquiries into appointments. And we believe that the future is, as you were saying, is more of a hybrid model, bricks and mortar and shop at home. That's really our niche.
Okay. Let's switch gears for a second and talk about inflation. Obviously we've talked a lot recently about the fact that the rigid LVT has gone up just because, they put the tariffs back on it. We also, though, see with housing being recovery mode right now, the demand for almost all materials has gone up. So we're seeing inflation. Talk a little bit about how you're managing that.
Internally, we had this conversation with my niece, our COO, and my sister, our CFO, this morning.
Yeah.
That, we got to be ahead of the curve in terms of raising our prices as this all happens. But the other thing, too, I think, and I said this to you before, Kemp, there's so much head trash with dealers around price increases. Price increases are good because they increase your revenue. You should be able to push those price increases on. I mean, I think right now there's never been a better time to raise prices because right now there's a lot of pent-up demand. It's tough getting installation crews. Dealers are at capacity in terms of their ability to sell or their ability to install. So I think it's a great time to just everybody raise their prices.
Isn't it funny how the people who live day to day in the business have a fear of raising prices, but they don't realize that the consumer doesn't shop for flooring every day, and they don't remember what they paid for it last time. So you have to be competitive versus the guy down the street, but if everybody would be responsible, it's okay to pass it along, don't you think?
Absolutely. You know, one of the problems in this industry is for a lot of dealers, profit has become a dirty word. Massive head trash around pushing a margin envelope, and we need margins to survive and to thrive. And the companies didn't have strong margins and didn't have strong balance sheets, probably didn't fare as well through this whole COVID pandemic as others that, you know, had better margins and had better balance sheets did.
All right, so 2 last quick questions. First off, I know you said a minute ago about pent-up demand. Do you think this is sustainable the rest of this year and on to next year as far as the homeowner's interest in fixing up the house?
You know, Kemp, I really do. Look at what's happening in commercial real estate market. A lot of people are now working from their homes. I think the whole paradigm has shifted. People are spending so much more time in their home. And I just think there's a shift away from office space into home office space, into beautifying the home. Now, I've never been more optimistic about our industry and our business model here at Molyneaux than ever. I mean, I think I'm the most optimistic I've ever been about growth in our category.
All right. So last question. Are you planning on going to Savannah to the NFA meeting next month?
Looking forward to that, Kemp. Love hanging out with those guys. I'm only a year in. I wish I would have done it 30 years ago. It was probably one of the best decisions we've ever made. Great group of people in that organization.
All right, Pat. Thanks for the update on what's going on with your business. Again, been talking to Pat Molyneaux, co-owner of Molyneaux Tile, Carpet, and Wood, based in Pittsburgh. And you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.